Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a problem that every single one of us faces. From putting off a huge work project to just avoiding that pile of laundry. It's procrastination. But what if I told you that pretty much everything we think we know about it is wrong? Let's dive in and find out what's really going on.
I mean, it's the ultimate paradox, right? You've got this mountain of tasks, a deadline breathing down your neck, and what do? You find yourself just staring at the ceiling, or let's be honest, scrolling endlessly on your phone. It literally feels like your own brain is working against you. But this isn't some personal failure. Nope, it's a deeply human thing, and we're about to unpack exactly why it happens.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we're gonna look at it from two angles. First, we've got to explore the psychological why, like what is the deep-seated root cause of this behavior? And then we'll shift gears into the practical how. I'm gonna give you a super simple, actionable strategy you can use the second this is over. Because look, it's that combination, knowing the why and having a practical how, that really, truly makes a difference.
All right, let's start by just tearing down some myths. We all have a story we tell ourselves about why we put things off, but most of the time, that story is completely off the mark.
Do any of these sound a little familiar? Oh, I'm just lazy. I'm just so overworked. Or my personal favorite, the classic, I'll just wait until I feel motivated, right? We use these phrases like shields to kind of justify not doing anything. But here's the thing. The truth is, every single one of those excuses is just a symptom. That's it. Calling yourself lazy is like blaming a cough when you actually have the flu. You're focusing on the surface level issue, and you're completely ignoring the real sickness underneath.
So if it's not about being lazy, what is it really about? Well, the real reason is something psychologists call the avoidance trap. And trust me, understanding this is the first huge step to breaking free.
This is the core idea that changes everything. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is an emotional regulation problem. Think about it. You're not actually avoiding the task itself. You're avoiding the feeling that task gives you, the boredom, the anxiety, maybe the fear of not doing it perfectly, the frustration. Your brain is just trying to protect you from those negative emotions, right here, right now.
And this really gets to the heart of the deal we're making with ourselves. You know that 5 minutes of relief you get from checking your phone instead of starting that report? Well, you're paying for it. You're paying for it with hours, maybe even days of mounting stress and anxiety down the line. It's a terrible trade, and yet we make it over and over again.
Okay, so we've established that just sitting around waiting for motivation to strike is a total trap. It's unreliable, it's fleeting, and it almost never shows up when you actually need it to. So if we can't rely on motivation to get us started, what's the alternative? How do we actually escape this thing? Well, the solution is surprisingly simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It all comes down to just one thing: mastering the art of just starting. Let's see how that works in the real world.
This is called the 10-minute rule, and it is your new secret weapon. First, pick that one task you've been dreading. The one some people call your frog. Then you set a timer for just 10 minutes. Now the key here is the commitment. For those 10 minutes, no distractions. You give it your full attention. And here's the magic part. When that timer dings, you are genuinely 100% free to stop. No guilt, walk away.
So why does this work? Well, the 10-minute rule works because it lowers the bar so much that your brain can't even justify avoiding it anymore. The truth is, the anticipation of doing the task is almost always worse than the reality of actually doing it. This rule just tricks your brain into getting over that initial hump, which, as it turns out, was the only part that was ever really that hard to begin with.
And once you start, something pretty incredible happens. You don't just make progress on your to-do list, you actually start to change your own internal chemistry. And this leads us to the final game-changing idea, the action-confidence loop. For our entire lives, we've basically been sold the lie you see on the left, that you need to feel motivated before you can take action. But the truth, the real psychological truth, is the exact opposite. Action comes first. Even a tiny action, like working for just 10 minutes, generates a small win. That little win gives you a hit of confidence. And that feeling of confidence is what creates real, sustainable motivation.
This is it. This is the ultimate takeaway. Stop waiting to feel good to get started. Start so you can feel good. Action is the spark. Confidence is the fuel. And motivation, that's the fire that follows. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, like a snowball of productivity that all begins with one tiny little push.
So I'll leave you with this question. Don't just think about this, do it. Right now, what's that one thing you've been avoiding? Your frog. What small 10-minute step can you take on it today? Because that small step, it isn't just about the task. It's about proving to yourself that you are the one in control.